She slapped the old woman across the face. The sound echoed through the cathedral like a gunshot. "You disgusting beggar!" Vanessa Thornton hissed, her $200,000 wedding dress rustling as she grabbed Mama Grace by the collar of her worn blue blouse. "I paid security $50,000 to keep trash like you out of my wedding." She shoved the 74-year-old woman backward, watching her stumble, watching her walking stick clatter across the marble floor, watching her fall against a pillar with a sickening thud. 400 guests gasped. Cameras flashed. And Marcus Whitfield, the billionaire groom, stood frozen at the altar as his bride revealed the monster hiding beneath her perfect smile. But Vanessa Thornton had made a terrible mistake, because the old woman she had just assaulted was the only person alive who knew how Marcus's mother really died. And she had waited 32 years to tell him the truth. Before we continue this incredible story, tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is in your country. If stories about justice, hidden truths, and the power of patience move your heart, subscribe to this channel and stay until the end. You won't believe what happens next. Marcus Whitfield couldn't move. His legs had turned to concrete. His hands hung limp at his sides. His heart slammed against his ribs so hard he thought it might crack them. He watched his bride, the woman he was supposed to marry in less than 5 minutes, backhand an elderly woman in front of 400 guests, 3 news cameras, and the mayor of Los Angeles. Mama Grace hit the marble pillar hard. Her thin body crumpled. Her blue headscarf fell to the floor. Her worn leather bag spilled its contents across the aisle, a Bible, a small cloth bundle, a handful of crumpled dollar bills. Vanessa stood over her like a predator over prey. "I warned you." Vanessa's voice was ice. "I told my security team exactly what you looked like. I showed them photographs. I paid them more money than you've seen in your entire pathetic life. And you still had the audacity to show up here." Mama Grace didn't respond. She was struggling to breathe. Her left hand pressed against her chest. Her eyes squeezed shut in pain. "Answer me!" Vanessa kicked the old woman's walking stick away. It skittered across the floor and disappeared under a pew. "What did you think was going to happen, that Marcus would see you and suddenly remember whatever fantasy you've cooked up in your demented mind?" Marcus found his voice. "Vanessa." She didn't hear him. Or she chose not to. "You're nothing." Vanessa crouched down, bringing her face close to Mama Grace's. "You're a homeless con artist who got lucky. You found a billionaire stupid enough to give you money every day, and you thought you could ride that gravy train forever. Well, guess what? The train stops here." "Vanessa." "Security." Vanessa snapped her fingers without looking up. "Get this woman out of my cathedral. I don't care how you do it. Drag her if you have to. Just get her out of my sight before she ruins any more of my—" "Vanessa!" The name exploded from Marcus's chest like a bomb. The entire cathedral went silent. The string quartet stopped mid-note. The priest dropped his Bible. 400 guests turned to stare at the groom, who had just screamed his bride's name like a curse. Vanessa slowly rose to her feet. She turned to face Marcus with an expression of pure disbelief. "Did you just raise your voice at me?" Marcus was already moving. His legs had finally unlocked. He strode down the altar steps, past the flower arrangements, past the gasping bridesmaids, past his stunned brother Daniel. He dropped to his knees beside Mama Grace. "Are you hurt?" His hands hovered over her, afraid to touch her, afraid to cause more pain. "Can you breathe? Do you need an ambulance?" Mama Grace opened her eyes. Those steady, patient eyes he had seen every morning for the past 3 years. The eyes that had watched him without judgment, without expectation, without ever asking for more than $10. "I'm all right," she whispered. "I've survived worse." "Like hell you're all right. Daniel." Marcus looked over his shoulder. "Call 911, now." "Don't you dare!" Vanessa's heel clicked against the marble as she stepped closer. "Daniel, if you touch that phone, I will make sure you never work in this city again." Daniel froze, phone in hand, caught between his brother and the woman who had just threatened his career. Marcus stood slowly. He turned to face Vanessa, And for the first time in their 2-year relationship, he looked at her without love, without admiration, without any of the feelings that had blinded him to who she really was. You hit her. She's a trespasser. You hit a 74-year-old woman. She's been stalking you for 3 years, Marcus. 3 years of showing up at that disgusting bus stop begging for your money, following you, obsessing over you. I did what your useless security team couldn't do. I protected you. Protected me? Marcus laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. You just committed assault in front of 400 witnesses. You just attacked an elderly woman in a church, on our wedding day. And you think you were protecting me? Vanessa's eyes narrowed. You're upset. I understand. This isn't how either of us wanted today to go. But once she's gone and we've calmed down, you'll see that I did the right thing. The right thing. Yes. Marcus looked at her. Really looked at her. The perfect hair. The perfect makeup. The perfect dress. The perfect smile that had slipped just enough to reveal the perfect monster underneath. I'm calling off the wedding. The words hung in the air like smoke. Vanessa blinked. Once. Twice. Her perfect composure cracked like thin ice. What did you say? The wedding is off. We're done. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious in my life. Vanessa's laugh was sharp, brittle, dangerous. Because I slapped some homeless woman. Because I defended myself against a stalker. You're going to throw away 2 years. 2 years of planning. 2 years of building something together because of this? I'm throwing it away because I finally see who you are. Who I am. Vanessa stepped closer, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper. I am the woman who turned your public image around. I am the woman who introduced you to every major investor in California. I am the woman who made Marcus Whitfield a name that matters in circles that wouldn't have touched you with a 10-foot pole 3 years ago. And I'm the man who just watched you assault someone who couldn't fight back. We're done. Vanessa's hand moved so fast, Marcus barely saw it coming. She slapped him across the face. The sound echoed through the cathedral. 400 guests gasped in unison. Camera flashes exploded like lightning. You ungrateful bastard, Vanessa hissed. You think you can just walk away from me? Do you have any idea what I've sacrificed for this relationship? What I've given up? What I've done to make sure nothing from your pathetic past could embarrass us? Marcus's cheek burned. But something else burned hotter. What did you just say? Vanessa realized her mistake too late. Her eyes widened. Her perfect mask slipped even further. Nothing. I didn't say anything. You said you made sure nothing from my past could embarrass us. Marcus stepped closer. What does that mean, Vanessa? What did you do? Marcus, this isn't the time. What did you do? Mama Grace's voice rose from the floor behind him, weak, strained, but clear enough for everyone to hear. She found your mother's medical records, the real ones, the ones the hospital tried to destroy. Marcus felt the world tilt. He turned slowly to look at the old woman, still lying on the cold marble floor. Her hand was still pressed against her chest. Her breathing was still labored, but her eyes, those steady, knowing eyes, were fixed on his face. What did you say? Your mother didn't die the way they told you. Mama Grace's voice gained strength. She didn't die of natural causes. She didn't die because her heart gave out. She died because County USC Medical Center made her wait 3 days for surgery while they verified whether charity funds would cover the cost. Marcus couldn't breathe. That's a lie. Vanessa's voice had gone shrill. She's lying, Marcus. This is exactly what con artists do. They find your weaknesses and they exploit them. She's been researching you for years, digging into your family history, looking for anything she could use to manipulate you. I was there. Mama Grace pushed herself up on one elbow. I was a hospital aide at County USC for 31 years. I was working the night shift when they brought your mother in. I held her hand when the doctors refused to treat her. I stayed with her for 3 days while she begged for help. and I was there when she finally died 8 hours after they decided she was worth saving. Marcus fell to his knees. The marble was cold through his tuxedo pants. The cathedral was spinning around him. His mother's face, the face he had tried so hard to remember, the face that had faded year by year despite his desperate efforts to hold on to it, swam before his eyes. March 14, 1992. Mama Grace reached toward him with a trembling hand. That's the day they brought her in. March 17th is the day they finally operated. March 18th is the day she died. I remember every date. I've lived with those dates for 32 years. You're insane. Vanessa grabbed Marcus's arm, trying to pull him up. She's insane, Marcus. Don't listen to her. She's making this up to steal your money, to ruin our wedding, to destroy everything we've built. Marcus shook her off. How do you know about the medical records? Vanessa's face went pale. What? You said she found my mother's medical records, the real ones. How do you know there are real ones? How do you know there's anything to find? I don't. Marcus, you're not thinking clearly. How do you know, Vanessa? Daniel's voice cut through the chaos. Because I told her. Marcus turned to look at his younger brother. Daniel stood frozen in the aisle, phone still in his hand, face white as chalk. What? I told her. Daniel's voice cracked. 3 months ago. I found something in Mom's old papers. A letter from a lawyer. Something about a potential lawsuit that never happened. I mentioned it to Vanessa. I thought she might know someone who could help us investigate. And... Daniel looked at Vanessa, then at the floor. She told me to drop it. She said it would only cause pain. She said some things were better left buried. Marcus stood slowly. His legs felt like they belonged to someone else. His heart felt like it had been replaced with a stone. You knew. He faced Vanessa. For 3 months you knew there might be something wrong with how my mother died, and you said nothing. I was protecting you. You were protecting yourself. That's not true. Then why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you say, Marcus, your brother found something strange. Maybe we should look into it. Why did you tell him to drop it? Vanessa's mask was completely gone now. In its place was something ugly, something desperate, something Marcus had never seen before. Because I knew this would happen. She gestured wildly at the cathedral, at the guests, at the cameras capturing every moment. I knew if you started digging into the past, you'd become obsessed. You'd throw away everything we've built for some crusade that won't bring your mother back. I was trying to keep you focused on the future. Our future. Our future, Marcus laughed bitterly. Our future was built on a lie. You knew something was wrong and you hid it from me. You let me walk around for 3 months believing my mother died of natural causes while you sat on information that might prove otherwise. Information from a crazy old woman who lives behind a garage? Information you never bothered to verify, because you didn't want to know the truth. You just wanted it to go away. Mama Grace had managed to sit up now. She leaned against the pillar, breathing heavily, but her voice was steady. I have proof. Everyone turned to look at her. 32 years of proof. She reached for her bag for the contents that had spilled across the floor. Her trembling fingers found the small cloth bundle. I kept copies of everything. The original admission forms, the doctor's notes, the surgery delay authorization, the death certificate they tried to alter. I kept it all because I knew someday someone would need to know the truth. She unwrapped the cloth, slowly revealing a stack of yellowed papers and something small. Something plastic, something that caught the cathedral light. A hospital bracelet. Old, cracked, faded. But the name printed on it was perfectly clear. Helen Whitfield. Marcus reached for it with hands that shook so badly he could barely control them. The plastic felt fragile, ancient, sacred. He cradled it in his palms like a holy relic. His mother's name. His mother's bracelet. His mother's truth hidden for 32 years. She was conscious at the end. Mama Grace's tears fell freely now. Most people don't know that. The records say she was sedated, that she never woke up after surgery. But that's another lie. She woke up. For about 20 minutes she woke up, and she knew she was dying. Marcus couldn't speak, couldn't move, couldn't do anything except stare at the bracelet in his hands. She talked about you boys, you and Daniel. She was worried about what would happen to you after she was gone. She made me promise. Mama Grace's voice broke. She made me promise to watch over you, to make sure you didn't forget where you came from, to make sure the money didn't change you if you ever found success. That's why you were at the bus stop. Daniel had moved closer, tears streaming down his face. That's why you asked for $10 every day. You weren't begging. You were testing him. Mama Grace nodded slowly. Your mother gave me $10 once, a long time ago. I was the one who needed help then. I was sick, I couldn't afford medicine, and she gave me her last $10 without hesitation. She didn't know me, she had nothing, but she gave anyway. She looked at Marcus with those steady, patient eyes. When you stopped at that bus stop 3 years ago and gave me $10 without asking any questions, without judgment, without expecting anything in return, I knew. I knew Helen's son was still in there. I knew the money hadn't destroyed him. Marcus's tears fell onto the hospital bracelet, onto his mother's name. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why wait 3 years? Because I needed you to be ready. You weren't ready before. You were still running from your past, still pretending you'd never been poor, still ashamed of where you came from. But these past few months, something changed. You started asking questions. You started wondering why I was there. You started remembering. Marcus thought about the mornings at the bus stop, the strange pull he felt every time he saw her. The memories that had started surfacing, memories he had buried so deep he thought they were gone forever. His mother's laugh, his mother's hands, his mother's voice singing him to sleep. The bread. His voice came out hoarse, broken. After Mom died, someone left bread on our doorstep for months. That was you. Mama Grace nodded. Every Tuesday and Friday, for a year and a half, until the church found permanent housing for you boys, and I knew you'd be okay. I never knew. I never thanked you. You're thanking me now, by listening, by believing, by being willing to face the truth even when it hurts. Vanessa's voice cut through the moment like a knife. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. You're all standing here crying over some old woman's story like it's proven fact. Where's the verification? Where's the expert analysis? For all you know, she faked those documents. She's had 32 years to forge whatever she needed. Marcus turned to look at his former fiancée, his future ex-fiancée, the woman he had almost married. Get out. Excuse me. Get out of this cathedral. Get out of my life. Get out of my sight. You can't just... I can. I am. Security. The same guards Vanessa had paid to keep Mama Grace out stepped forward. They looked uncertain, caught between their employer and the billionaire who could destroy their careers with a single phone call. Escort Ms. Thornton to her car, Marcus said calmly. Make sure she takes nothing that belongs to me. My lawyers will be in touch about the rest. Vanessa's face contorted with rage. You will regret this. You will regret this for the rest of your miserable life. I have information about you, Marcus. Information that will destroy your precious foundation. Information that will make you unemployable in every boardroom in America. Then use it. The simple response stopped her cold. What? Use it. Whatever you have, whatever dirt you think you've dug up, use it. Release it to the press. Send it to my enemies. I don't care. Marcus stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the cathedral. But know this, whatever you do to me, I will spend 10 times the resources destroying you. Not because I'm petty, not because I want revenge, but because you stood in this church and assaulted an elderly woman, and then you lied about my mother's death, and you need to understand that actions have consequences. For the first time, real fear flickered in Vanessa's eyes. You wouldn't. Try me. The security guards reached for her arms. Vanessa shook them off violently. Don't touch me. I'm leaving on my own. She gathered the train of her $200,000 dress, the dress that would never see a wedding reception, never be preserved in a climate-controlled closet, never be passed down to a daughter who would never be born. "You'll come crawling back," she spat. "When the loneliness hits, when you realize what you've thrown away, you'll come crawling back and I won't be there." Marcus said nothing. Vanessa turned and marched up the aisle, her heels clicking against the marble like gunshots. Her bridesmaids scrambled to follow, shooting apologetic looks over their shoulders. Her mother sobbed loudly from the front pew. Her father sat in stunned silence, calculator already running behind his eyes as he computed the cost of this disaster. The cathedral doors slammed open, slammed shut, and she was gone. The silence that followed was deafening. 400 guests sat frozen in their pews, unsure what to do, unsure what to say, unsure if they should leave or stay, or pretend none of this had happened. Marcus ignored all of them. He knelt beside Mama Grace and took her hand in his. Her skin was paper-thin, fragile, marked by 74 years of hard living. "I need to get you to a doctor. I need to give you the files first." "The files can wait." "No." Her grip tightened with surprising strength. "They can't. I'm old Marcus. I'm sick. My kidneys are failing. My heart isn't much better. I've been waiting 32 years to give someone the truth, and I'm not dying before I finish." "You're not dying. Everyone dies. The question is whether we do something meaningful first." She reached for the stack of yellowed papers with her free hand. Her fingers trembled as she held them out to him. "This is everything. Admission records, doctor's notes, testimony from 3 other nurses who saw what happened and were too scared to speak up. Evidence that at least 47 other patients died the same way your mother did, poor people whose care was delayed because they couldn't pay fast enough." Marcus took the papers. They felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds. 47 people. At least, probably more. The hospital was systematic about it. They had a policy, unofficial of course, never written down, that patients without insurance went to the back of the line. Even in emergencies. Even when people were dying. Because dead poor people don't sue, but rich families do. Jesus Christ. He wasn't there that night. Believe me, I looked. Despite everything, despite the chaos, despite the grief, despite the rage building in his chest, Marcus almost smiled. "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "I don't know. Someone angrier, I guess. Someone bitter." "I was bitter for a long time. Angry too. But anger eats you from the inside. Your mother taught me that. She had every reason to be angry, dying young, leaving her boys alone, being failed by everyone who was supposed to help her. But the last thing she said to me wasn't angry. It was hopeful." "What did she say?" Mama Grace's eyes filled with tears. "She said, 'Tell my boys I love them. Tell them to be good. Tell them to be the light even when it's dark.'" Marcus closed his eyes. Be the light. He remembered now. He remembered his mother saying that every night when she tucked him in. He remembered the feel of her hand on his forehead, the smell of lavender soap, the sound of her voice wrapping around him like a blanket. Be the light, Marcus, even when it's dark. Especially when it's dark. He had forgotten. Somewhere between the poverty and the foster homes and the struggle to survive, he had forgotten. And then he got rich, and he forgot even more. But Mama Grace had remembered for him. "I'm going to destroy them." He opened his eyes. The hospital, the administrators, everyone who was involved. I'm going to tear it all down. I know. Is that why you waited? You needed someone with resources, someone with power. Mama Grace shook her head slowly. I waited because your mother asked me to watch over you. The justice that was always secondary. What mattered was making sure you didn't lose yourself. Making sure you didn't become just another rich man who forgot where he came from. And the $10 was proof that you remembered. Every morning you stopped, you saw me, you gave. Not because you wanted something, not because you expected praise, just because someone needed help and you could provide it. She squeezed his hand. That's what your mother did for me, and that's what she hoped you'd do for others. Daniel appeared at Marcus's shoulder. His eyes were red, his face streaked with tears. The ambulance is here. I called while you were talking. Thank you. Marcus. Daniel's voice cracked. I'm sorry. I should have told you about the letter. I should have investigated myself instead of just mentioning it to Vanessa. If I had... Don't. Marcus looked at his brother. You were trying to protect me too. Everyone was trying to protect me. The difference is, you did it out of love. She did it out of self-interest. The EMTs arrived with a stretcher. They moved with professional efficiency, checking Mama Grace's vitals, stabilizing her neck, asking questions about her medical history. I'm going with her. Marcus stood. Daniel, can you handle things here? The guests, the media, the absolute circus this is about to become, all of it. Daniel nodded grimly. I'll figure it out. Go. Take care of her. Marcus started to follow the stretcher, then stopped. He turned back to the cathedral full of staring guests, searching for one face in particular. Father Martinez. The priest stepped forward hesitantly. He looked like a man who had just survived an earthquake and wasn't sure if the aftershocks were finished. Yes, my son. I'm sorry about all this. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. God works in mysterious ways. The priest managed a weak smile. Though I admit this is more mysterious than most. I need a favor. Anything. The donation I made for today for the flowers, the music, the reception that won't happen now. Don't return it. Use it for your food bank instead, and double it. I'll have my accountant send a check. Father Martinez's eyes widened. That's very generous. It's what my mother would have wanted. Marcus turned and walked up the aisle, following the stretcher carrying Mama Grace toward the waiting ambulance. The cameras tracked his every movement. The phones captured every second. By the time he reached the doors, the story would be trending worldwide. Billionaire cancels wedding. Bride assaults elderly woman. Shocking secrets about mother's death. The headlines would be wild. The speculation would be wilder. But Marcus didn't care. For the first time in 32 years, he knew the truth. His mother hadn't died because her heart failed. She had died because a system designed to save lives had decided her life wasn't worth saving fast enough. And he was going to make them pay. The cathedral doors swung open. California. Sunlight poured in golden and warm, illuminating the chaos that waited outside. Paparazzi reporters. Curious onlookers. Security teams, trying and failing to maintain order. Marcus stepped through the doors and into the light. The ambulance was parked at the bottom of the steps, its back doors open. The EMTs were loading Mama Grace inside, moving carefully, professionally, treating her with the dignity she deserved. Marcus climbed in after her and sat on the narrow bench beside the stretcher. The doors closed, shutting out the noise, the cameras, the world. Mama Grace reached for his hand. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For listening. For believing. For being the man your mother hoped you'd become. Marcus felt tears burning in his eyes. He let them fall. I should be thanking you. You kept your promise. For 32 years you watched over us. You left bread on our doorstep. You waited at a bus stop just to make sure I hadn't lost my soul. It wasn't a hardship. You boys were easy to watch. You grew up good despite everything. Your mother would be proud. The ambulance started moving. Sirens wailed. The vehicle rocked gently as it navigated through the crowd of paparazzi. Where are we going? Mama Grace asked. Cedars-Sinai. Best hospital in the city. You're going to get the care you deserve. That's expensive. I'm a billionaire. Everything's expensive. But some things are worth paying for. Mama Grace smiled, a real smile. The first one he'd seen from her that wasn't tinged with sadness. Your mother used to say that. Not about money, she never had any, but about time. She'd say, some things are worth waiting for. Some people are worth fighting for. Did she say anything about revenge? The smile faded slightly. Why do you ask? Because I'm about to take down a hospital, probably a dozen administrators, and possibly the entire Los Angeles County healthcare system. I want to know if she'd approve." Mama Grace was quiet for a long moment. The ambulance swayed around a corner. Monitors beeped softly. Your mother wasn't a vengeful person. She didn't have the energy for hate. But she believed in justice. She believed that wrong things should be made right, not for revenge, but so other people wouldn't suffer the same way. That's what this is. Other people. You said 47 patients died the same way she did. 47 families who never knew the truth. At least 47. Probably more. Then this isn't about revenge. It's about making sure no one else's mother dies in a hallway while bureaucrats argue about money. Mama Grace squeezed his hand. Then yes, she would approve. The ambulance pulled into the emergency bay at Cedars-Sinai. The doors flew open. Medical personnel swarmed around the stretcher asking questions, taking vitals, moving with the urgent efficiency of people who actually cared about saving lives. Marcus followed them inside, ignoring the stares of patients and staff who recognized him from television, from magazines, from the trending hashtag that was probably already spreading across every social media platform on Earth. A doctor intercepted him in the hallway. "Mr. Whitfield, I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, attending physician. Are you family?" Marcus looked through the window of the treatment room where nurses were connecting Mama Grace to monitors starting an IV checking her blood pressure. "Yes," he said quietly. "I am. We're running tests now. Her blood pressure is elevated and her kidney function seems compromised. She'll need to stay overnight at minimum, possibly longer depending on what we find. Whatever she needs. Best room, best doctors, best everything. Money is not an object." Dr. Chen nodded. "We'll take excellent care of her. Is there anything else I should know about her medical history?" "She's 74 years old. She's worked harder than anyone you've ever met. She's been living in a converted storage unit behind a garage in South Central, and she's the closest thing to a saint I've ever known." The doctor's expression softened. "We'll treat her like family, Mr. Whitfield." "Thank you." Dr. Chen hurried away. Marcus stayed at the window, watching Mama Grace through the glass. She looked so small on that hospital bed, so fragile, so mortal. 32 years she had waited. 32 years of carrying the truth. 32 years of watching from a distance, making sure 2 orphaned boys grew up to be good men. And now, finally, the waiting was over. His phone buzzed, then buzzed again, then erupted in a continuous stream of notifications, texts, emails, calls, social media alerts. The world was reacting to what had just happened. The wedding of the decade had become the scandal of the century. Marcus silenced his phone and put it away. There would be time for damage control later. Time for lawyers and statements and carefully worded press releases. Time for the battle that was coming with Vanessa, with the hospital, with everyone who had benefited from keeping his mother's death a secret. But right now, there was only this. An old woman in a hospital bed. A promise kept after 32 years. And a son who finally knew the truth about how his mother died. Marcus pushed open the door and stepped into the room. Mama Grace looked up, her eyes tired but alert. "You should go," she said softly. "There's a lot happening out there. You don't need to stay with me." Marcus pulled a chair close to her bed and sat down. "I'm exactly where I need to be. Your empire won't run itself. My empire can wait. It's been running on autopilot for years anyway." He took her hand again. "You waited 32 years for me. The least I can do is wait a few hours with you." Mama Grace's eyes glistened. "Your mother was right about you." "What did she say?" "She said you had a good heart. She worried the world would break it or harden it or make you forget how to use it. But she always hoped that someday you'd remember." Marcus looked at their intertwined hands. His smooth, manicured, never worked a day of manual labor hands. Her rough weathered carried the weight of 32 years' hands. "I remember now," he said quietly. "I remember everything." Outside the hospital window, Los Angeles sprawled in every direction. Gleaming skyscrapers, crowded highways, millions of people living their lives, fighting their battles, keeping their secrets. Somewhere out there, County USC Medical Center still stood. Still treated patients. Still operated under policies that prioritized profit over people. But not for long. Marcus Whitfield had found his purpose. He had found his truth. And he had found the woman who had kept his mother's memory alive when everyone else had forgotten. The waiting was over. The reckoning was about to begin. 3 hours later, Marcus still hadn't left Mama Grace's bedside. The doctors had stabilized her. Her blood pressure was down. Her kidney function was concerning, but manageable. They wanted to keep her for observation, run more tests, make sure there were no hidden complications. Marcus had ordered a private room, the best in the hospital. When the administrator tried to explain that such rooms were typically reserved months in advance, Marcus wrote a check for the new pediatric wing they'd been fundraising for. The private room became available immediately. Now Mama Grace lay propped against pillows, an IV dripping steadily into her arm monitors, beeping their quiet reassurance. She looked exhausted, but peaceful. "You should eat something," she said. "I'm not hungry." "You haven't eaten since this morning. Before your wedding, that wasn't." "I'm fine." "You're stubborn, just like your mother." Marcus almost smiled. "Is that a compliment or a criticism?" "Both." His phone buzzed again. He'd been ignoring it for hours, but the notifications kept coming. Daniel had sent 17 texts. His lawyer had called 9 times. His publicist had left 4 voicemails, each one more frantic than the last. "You should answer that," Mama Grace said. "The world is waiting for you." "The world can keep waiting." "Marcus." Something in her tone made him look up. "I didn't wait 32 years so you could hide in a hospital room with me. I waited so you could do something. The files I gave you, have you even looked at them?" Marcus glanced at the stack of yellowed papers on the bedside table. He'd been avoiding them, afraid of what they contained, afraid of what they would make him feel. "Not yet." "Then look. Now. While I can explain what you're seeing." He reached for the papers. His hands trembled slightly as he picked them up. The first document was an admission form. His mother's name. Her date of birth. Her address, the tiny apartment in Koreatown, where Marcus had spent the first 12 years of his life. The emergency contact line was blank. "She didn't list anyone," Marcus said quietly. "She didn't have anyone to list. Your father was dead. Her parents were dead. She had 2 sons under the age of 12, and no one else in the world." Marcus turned to the next page. A triage assessment. His mother's symptoms were listed in clinical shorthand: chest pain, shortness of breath, elevated heart rate, suspected cardiac event. At the bottom, someone had scrawled a note in red ink. "Patient uninsured. Verify charity eligibility before proceeding." What does this mean? It means they knew she was having a heart attack. They knew she needed surgery. And they decided to check her finances before they decided whether to save her life. Marcus's jaw tightened. That's illegal. It was illegal. But it happened anyway. And when people complained, the hospital buried the evidence. He flipped to the next document. A surgery authorization form dated 3 days after his mother's admission. 3 days. She waited 3 days for heart surgery. In a hallway, on a gurney. I brought her water when I could. I held her hand when she cried. I told her help was coming even when I knew they were taking their time. Why didn't you report it? Why didn't you tell someone? Mama Grace's eyes darkened. I did. I filed a complaint with the hospital administration. I was fired the next week. They said I was stealing supplies. They blacklisted me from every hospital in Los Angeles County. I spent the next 5 years cleaning office buildings before my leg gave out and I couldn't work anymore. Jesus. He wasn't there either. I looked. Marcus kept reading. Doctor's notes, nurse reports, internal memos that should have been destroyed but somehow survived. One memo in particular caught his eye. It was dated 2 days after his mother's death, addressed to the hospital administrator from the legal department. Ari Whitfield Helen, potential liability concerns. Recommend immediate file review and sanitization. Patient had no family resources for litigation. Minimal risk if handled properly. Suggest cause of death be listed as cardiac arrest. Natural causes to avoid questions about treatment timeline. Marcus read it 3 times. Then he read it again. They knew. His voice came out strangled. They knew they killed her, and they covered it up because they didn't think anyone would sue. Your mother was poor. Her sons were children. There was no one to fight for her, so they made the problem disappear. And the other 47. Mama Grace pointed to a thick folder at the bottom of the stack. All documented, all poor, all uninsured. All died waiting for treatment that came too late or never came at all. The youngest was 19, the oldest was 83. They came from everywhere, Korea, Mexico, the Philippines, right here in Los Angeles. The only thing they had in common was that they couldn't pay fast enough. Marcus opened the folder. Names, dates, causes of death, family members who had never been told the truth, 47 lives, 47 cover-ups, 47 families who deserved to know what really happened. This is enough to bring down the entire hospital. That's what I'm counting on. Marcus looked up sharply. What do you mean? I mean I didn't keep these files for 32 years, just so you could feel sad about your mother. I kept them because someday someone with the power to do something would finally listen. That someone is you. You want me to go public with this. I want you to burn them to the ground. Not literally. Well, maybe literally. I don't know what billionaires do for fun, but I want you to expose every person who knew about this and did nothing. Every administrator who signed off on those delays, every lawyer who helped cover it up, every doctor who looked the other way. Marcus stared at her. This frail, elderly woman who had waited at a bus stop for 3 years asking for $10 a day, never revealing who she really was or what she really wanted. This was your plan all along. Not all along. At first I just wanted to keep my promise to your mother. Watch over her boys, make sure they grew up okay. But as the years passed and you became successful, I realized something. God hadn't just given me a promise to keep. He'd given me a weapon to wield. I just needed the right soldier to wield it. And you decided I was that soldier. I decided to find out if you could be. The bus stop was a test. If you'd driven past me every day without stopping, I would have found another way. But you didn't drive past. You stopped. You saw me. You helped. And I knew that Helen's son still had his heart. The door burst open. Daniel rushed in, phone in hand, face flushed with panic. Marcus, we have a problem. What kind of problem? Vanessa kind of problem. Daniel held up his phone. The screen showed a news headline. Jilted bride claims billionaire has secret criminal past. She's doing interviews, right now. She's telling everyone you have hidden offshore accounts, that you've been evading taxes, that the foundation is a money laundering front. She's got documents, fake ones I'm sure, but they look real. Marcus felt his blood pressure spike. How long has this been going on? About an hour. It's everywhere. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, every gossip site on the internet. She's playing the victim. Poor innocent bride abandoned at the altar by her corrupt billionaire fiancé. Has anyone asked why she was abandoned? She's claiming you had a mental breakdown, that the old woman is your secret mistress, that the whole thing at the cathedral was a psychotic episode. Marcus laughed. He couldn't help it. The absurdity was too much. She's saying a 74-year-old woman is my secret mistress. I didn't say it made sense. I said it's everywhere. Mama Grace spoke up from her bed. Let her talk. Both brothers turned to look at her. What? Let her talk. Mama Grace's voice was calm, steady. She's desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. The more she talks, the more lies she tells, the harder she'll fall when the truth comes out. She's destroying my reputation in real time. Your reputation will survive. The question is whether hers will. Mama Grace pointed at the stack of files. You have something she doesn't have. You have the truth, and the truth properly deployed is more powerful than any lie she can tell. Marcus's phone rang. He looked at the screen. Unknown number. Don't answer that, Daniel said. It's probably a reporter. Marcus answered anyway. Mr. Whitfield. The voice on the other end was male professional, vaguely familiar. This is Robert Chen, Chief Administrator at County USC Medical Center. I understand you've come into possession of some sensitive documents. Marcus's grip tightened on the phone. How did you get this number? That's not important. What's important is that we have a mutual interest in resolving this situation quietly. The documents you have, if they're what I think they are, could cause significant damage to a lot of people. People who were just doing their jobs. People with families. People who let my mother die. A long pause. I wasn't at County USC in 1992, Mr. Whitfield. I had nothing to do with whatever happened to your mother. But I do know that dragging this into the public eye will help no one. The people responsible are long gone. Most of them are dead. What purpose does it serve to destroy the hospital that serves hundreds of thousands of patients every year? It serves the purpose of justice. Justice? Chen laughed softly. Mr. Whitfield, you're a businessman. You understand cost-benefit analysis. Think about what you're proposing. A prolonged legal battle. Years of litigation. Millions in legal fees. And for what your mother is dead, nothing will bring her back. 47 people are dead. Their families deserve to know the truth. Another pause. Longer this time. Where did you get that number? I have files, Mr. Chen. 32 years of files. Every name. Every date. Every cover-up. I know exactly what your predecessors did, and I'm prepared to share that information with every media outlet, every regulatory agency, and every district attorney in the state of California. That would be inadvisable. Is that a threat? It's a statement of fact. County USC has resources, Mr. Whitfield, political connections, friends in high places. If you pursue this vendetta, you will find yourself facing opposition you never imagined. Marcus looked at Mama Grace. She was watching him intently, her steady eyes unreadable. Mr. Chen, let me tell you something about myself. 3 hours ago, I walked away from my own wedding because I discovered my fiancé knew the truth about my mother's death and hid it from me. I gave up a 2-year relationship, a carefully planned future, and whatever was left of my public image because the truth mattered more than my comfort. Do you really think threats from a hospital administrator are going to scare me off? Silence. You're making a mistake. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. This isn't one of them. We could settle this, quietly, generously. A substantial donation to a charity of your choice. A formal apology, private of course. Whatever it takes to make this go away. You want to know what it takes: accountability, public acknowledgement of what happened. Compensation for the families of everyone who died because of your hospital's policies, and structural reforms to make sure it never happens again. That's impossible. Then I guess we have nothing more to discuss. Marcus hung up. Daniel stared at him. Did you just threaten the largest public hospital in Los Angeles? I think I did. They're going to come after you. Everything you have, your businesses, your foundation, your reputation. Let them come. Mama Grace smiled, a real smile, warm and proud. Your mother used to say that. When the landlord threatened to evict her, when the bill collectors called, when everything seemed impossible, she'd square her shoulders and say, "Let them come. We've survived worse." Marcus felt something shift in his chest, a wall crumbling, a door opening. Tell me more about her. What? Tell me more about my mother. Not how she died. How she lived. I've spent 32 years trying to forget the pain, and somewhere along the way, I forgot everything else too. Tell me who she was. Mama Grace's eyes softened. She was the strongest woman I ever met. And the kindest. She worked 3 jobs to keep you boys fed. She never complained, never felt sorry for herself, never blamed anyone for her circumstances. She used to say, "Bitterness is a luxury poor people can't afford." I remember that. She loved to sing. Did you know that she had a beautiful voice? Sometimes late at night when she thought everyone was asleep, she'd sit by your bedroom window and sing hymns to herself. Just her and God, and the Los Angeles traffic. Marcus closed his eyes. He could almost hear it. A melody from the edge of memory, faint and fragile. She talked about you all the time, you and Daniel, her 2 boys, her 2 miracles she called you. She said you were going to change the world someday. She believed it absolutely. She was wrong. Was she? Look at you. Look at what you've built. Look at what you're about to do. I built a company. I made money. That's not changing the world. It's about to be. Mama Grace gestured at the files. This is your chance to be what she believed you could be. Not just successful. Significant. Not just wealthy. Worthy. Marcus opened his eyes. I don't know if I can do this. You can. I'll make enemies. Powerful enemies. You already have enemies. At least now they'll be the right ones. People will get hurt. People are already hurting. The question is whether you're willing to do something about it. Marcus looked at the files. 47 names. 47 lives. 47 families who had never known the truth. His mother's name was just one of them, but she was the one who mattered most. I need to make some calls. Mama Grace nodded. Go. Do what you need to do. I'll be here when you get back. Marcus stood. He gathered the files carefully, treating them like the weapons they were. Thank you. For what? For waiting. For remembering. For keeping your promise. Mama Grace reached out and took his hand. Thank your mother. She's the one who saw something in you worth protecting. I just did what she asked. Marcus squeezed her hand gently. Then he walked out of the hospital room, files under his arm, phone already in his hand. Daniel fell into step beside him. Where are we going? War room. We need lawyers, investigators, media contacts, everyone we can trust. Marcus, this is going to get ugly. I know. Vanessa's not going to stop. She's going to keep lying, keep attacking, keep trying to destroy you. I know that too. And now you've got the hospital coming after you. Plus whoever else was involved in the cover-up. Politicians, lawyers, maybe even police. This could be bigger than we can handle. Marcus stopped walking. He turned to face his brother. Daniel, do you remember when we were kids? After Mom died, we had nothing. No parents, no money, no future. Everyone told us we'd end up on the streets or in prison. Everyone said we'd never amount to anything. I remember. We proved them wrong. We built something from nothing. We survived things that should have destroyed us, and we did it together. Daniel's eyes glistened. I need you with me on this. Not because I'm asking as your brother, but because this is right. What they did to Mom, what they did to all those families, it was wrong. And if we don't fight, if we don't expose the truth, they'll keep doing it. More people will die waiting for help that never comes. Daniel was quiet for a long moment. Mom would want us to fight. Yes, she would. Then let's fight. Marcus nodded. They walked out of the hospital together into the California sunshine, into a battle that would test everything they had. Behind them, in a private room on the 4th floor, Mama Grace lay back against her pillows and closed her eyes. 32 years of waiting. Finally over. The reckoning had begun. 2 days after the wedding that never happened, Marcus sat in the conference room of his downtown office with 6 lawyers, 3 private investigators, and his brother Daniel. The files Mama Grace had given him were spread across the table. 47 names, 47 deaths, 32 years of secrets. "This is explosive," said Margaret Chen, the lead attorney Marcus had hired away from the state attorney general's office 3 years ago. "If even half of this is verifiable, we're talking about systematic negligence, fraud, obstruction of justice, and possibly manslaughter." "It's all verifiable," Marcus said. "The woman who gave me these files was there. She witnessed everything." A 74-year-old former hospital aide who was fired for alleged theft. Another lawyer, James Morrison, shook his head. "Their attorneys will tear her apart on the stand. She wasn't stealing. They framed her to keep her quiet." "Can you prove that?" Marcus hesitated. "Not yet." "Then we have a problem." Daniel leaned forward. "What about the documents themselves? The internal memos, the altered death certificates, the surgery, delay authorizations?" Margaret picked up one of the yellowed papers. "Chain of custody is going to be an issue. These files have been in private possession for 3 decades. The hospital will claim they're forgeries." "They're not forgeries." "I believe you, but believing isn't the same as proving in court." Marcus slammed his palm on the table. Everyone jumped. "My mother died because she couldn't pay fast enough. 46 other people died for the same reason. And you're telling me we can't do anything because the paperwork is old?" Margaret met his gaze steadily. "I'm telling you that winning this fight requires more than righteous anger. We need corroboration, other witnesses, current employees willing to testify that these practices continued, physical evidence that hasn't been in private hands for 32 years. Then find it." "That's what I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Whitfield. Finding it will take time. Months, maybe years." "I don't have years. Mama Grace doesn't have years." The room went quiet. Marcus stood and walked to the window. The Los Angeles skyline stretched before him, gleaming and indifferent. "My mother believed in this city," he said quietly. "She came here from Ohio with nothing but a suitcase and a dream. She worked 3 jobs. She raised 2 boys alone. She never asked for handouts, never complained, never gave up. And when she finally needed help, the system she trusted let her die in a hallway." He turned back to face the room. "I didn't build this company to sit in meetings and talk about what we can't do. I built it to make things happen. So figure out how to make this happen, or I'll find people who can." Margaret nodded slowly. "There might be a way, but you're not going to like it." "Tell me." "We go public, not with a lawsuit, with the story. We take everything we have to the media and let public pressure do what the courts can't." "That's risky," James said. "If we release unverified documents, we open ourselves to defamation suits." "It's also the only thing that might work fast enough," Margaret countered. "Once the story is out there, other witnesses will come forward. People who were afraid to speak up will see that someone finally listened. It's how these things always break open." Marcus thought about Mama Grace in her hospital bed. The kidney disease, the failing heart, the 32 years of waiting. "Do it." "Are you sure?" "Once we start this, there's no going back." "I've been going back my whole life, running from where I came from, pretending I was always rich, always successful, always in control. No more running. We go public tomorrow." His phone buzzed. A text from the hospital. "Come now. She's asking for you." Marcus's blood ran cold. "I have to go." He was out the door before anyone could respond. 20 minutes later, he burst into Mama Grace's room at Cedars-Sinai. She was sitting up in bed looking more alert than she had in days. "You scared me," Marcus said, catching his breath. "I thought something was wrong." "Something is wrong. Turn on the television." Marcus grabbed the remote and clicked on the wall-mounted TV. A news anchor's face filled the screen. "Breaking news tonight. New allegations against billionaire Marcus Whitfield, who made headlines 2 days ago when he canceled his wedding moments before the ceremony. Former fiancé. Vanessa Thornton claims to have evidence that Whitfield's foundation has been laundering money through overseas shell companies. She's calling for a federal investigation. The screen cut to Vanessa perfectly made up tears glistening artfully in her eyes. I loved Marcus. I really did. But I couldn't ignore what I found. The offshore accounts, the fake charities, the missing millions. I tried to talk to him about it, and that's when he became violent. That's when he revealed who he really is. Marcus felt sick. She's lying. Every word is a lie. I know, Mama Grace said calmly. But she's very good at it. The foundation's books are clean. We've been audited every year. There's nothing to find because there's nothing there. That doesn't matter. She's not trying to win in court. She's trying to destroy you in public. By the time the truth comes out, the damage will be done. Marcus sank into the chair beside her bed. What do I do? Mama Grace reached for his hand. You fight, but not just against her, against everyone who wants to bury the truth. Vanessa is a distraction. The hospital administrators, the politicians who protected them, the system that let 47 people die, they're the real enemy. Don't lose sight of that. How can I fight them when I'm defending myself against fake corruption charges? By telling your story first. Marcus looked at her. What do you mean? Vanessa is controlling the narrative right now. She's the victim. You're the villain. The only way to change that is to give people a different story, a true story. The story of a boy who lost his mother to a broken system. The story of a woman who waited 32 years for justice. The story of what really happened at County USC Medical Center. My lawyers want to do the same thing. Go to the media, release the files. Then do it, tonight, before Vanessa's lies take root. It's risky. The documents haven't been verified. They could claim we're making it up. They could, but they won't. How do you know? Mama Grace smiled. Because I'm not the only witness. I told you I was fired for speaking up, but I wasn't the only one who spoke up. There were 3 others, 2 nurses and a doctor. They were all transferred or pushed out within months of me, but they're still alive, and they've been waiting just as long as I have. Marcus's heart jumped. You know where they are. I know where they were 5 years ago. I've kept in touch over the years. Christmas cards, the occasional phone call. They're scared, Marcus. Scared of what the hospital might do to them if they talk. But they're also tired of carrying the secret. Can you reach them? I already have. While you were in your meeting, they're willing to talk, but they want protection, anonymity, until they absolutely have to go public. Marcus grabbed his phone and dialed Margaret Chen. Margaret, change of plans. I have 3 additional witnesses, former employees who saw what happened and are willing to corroborate the files. That changes everything. Where are they? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. He hung up and looked at Mama Grace. Give me the names. She rattled them off from memory. Dr. Samuel Okonkwo, Nurse Patricia Reyes, Nurse Jennifer Thompson. 3 people who had carried the same burden she had for 3 decades. Dr. Okonkwo is in San Diego now, retired. Patricia moved to Phoenix. Jennifer stayed in LA, but she changed her name after the hospital threatened her family. Threatened her family. Her son was applying to medical schools. The hospital made calls. He was rejected everywhere. She blamed herself, changed her name, and disappeared. Jesus Christ. They were thorough, Marcus. They destroyed everyone who tried to speak up. That's why I waited. That's why I watched. I needed to find someone they couldn't destroy. Marcus understood now. The $10, the bus stop, the years of patient observation. She hadn't just been testing his character. She'd been waiting for someone powerful enough to fight back. I'm going to San Diego. Tonight? Right now. Dr. Okonkwo is the key. A doctor's testimony carries more weight than nurses. No offense. None taken. It's true. Mama Grace squeezed his hand. Be careful. If the hospital finds out what you're doing, they'll try to stop you. Let them try. He was at the door when her voice stopped him. "Marcus!" He turned. "Your mother would be so proud of you. I want you to know that. Whatever happens, whatever they do to you, she would be so proud." Marcus felt his throat tighten. "I'll be back tomorrow." "I'll be here." 3 hours later, Marcus was knocking on the door of a modest house in a San Diego suburb. The man who answered was in his 70s, gray-haired and weathered, with the cautious eyes of someone who had learned not to trust strangers. "Dr. Okonkwo." "Who's asking?" "My name is Marcus Whitfield. Grace Johnson sent me." The caution in the old man's eyes transformed into something else. Recognition, fear, and underneath it all, something that looked like hope. "You'd better come inside." The house was small but immaculate. Family photos lined the walls. Medical degrees hung in the hallway collecting dust. Dr. Okonkwo led Marcus to a cramped living room and gestured for him to sit. "I've been watching the news. I know who you are. I know about your wedding. And I know why you're here." "Then you know I need your help." "Grace called me this afternoon. She said you were different, that you could be trusted." The old man's voice was heavy. "I've heard that before. 32 years ago I trusted the system. I trusted that speaking up would make a difference. I lost everything." "I know, and I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't give me back my career. Sorry doesn't undo what they did to my family." "No, it doesn't. But justice might." Dr. Okonkwo laughed bitterly. "Justice. I stopped believing in justice a long time ago." "Then believe in revenge." The old man's eyes sharpened. "What?" "You heard me. If justice isn't enough motivation, then think about revenge. Think about everyone who destroyed your life, the administrators who fired you, the lawyers who threatened you, the politicians who looked the other way. I'm going to expose all of them. I'm going to tear down everything they built on the graves of people like my mother, and I want you to help me do it." Dr. Okonkwo was quiet for a long moment. "Your mother, Helen Whitfield. You remember her?" "I remember every patient I lost to that policy. 47 of them. Helen was number 31. She came in on a Tuesday night. Chest pains. Classic heart attack symptoms. I wanted to operate immediately. I begged them to let me operate." His voice cracked. "They told me to wait, verify her insurance status, check if charity funds were available, follow protocol. By the time they gave me permission, it was too late. I did the surgery anyway, hoping I could save her, but the damage was too severe." Marcus felt tears burning in his eyes. "She woke up after the surgery. Did you know that? She was conscious for about 20 minutes at the end, long enough to ask about her boys, long enough to make Grace promise to watch over you." "I didn't know." "Grace was with her when she died. I was in another surgery by then. Another patient. Another life I couldn't save." Marcus reached into his bag and pulled out the files. "I have documentation for all 47 deaths. Internal memos proving the hospital knew their policies were killing people. Cover-up orders from administrators. Everything." Dr. Okonkwo took the files with trembling hands. He flipped through them slowly, his face growing paler with each page. "Where did you get these?" "Grace. She kept copies of everything. For 32 years. She was waiting for someone who could do something about it." Dr. Okonkwo looked up. "And you're that someone?" "I'm trying to be." The old man set the files down carefully. "What do you need from me?" "Your testimony, on camera, on the record. I need you to confirm that these files are real, that these deaths happened, that the hospital systematically prioritized profit over patients. They'll come after me. They'll destroy whatever's left of my reputation. They'll try, but they won't succeed. Because this time you won't be alone. This time you'll have me, my lawyers, my resources, everything I have." "Why? Why does this matter so much to you?" Your mother is dead. Nothing will bring her back. Marcus thought about the question. It was the same question everyone asked. The hospital administrator, his lawyers, even Mama Grace. Because she believed in me. My whole life, even when we had nothing, she believed I would do something important, something meaningful. And for 32 years I forgot that. I got rich, I got comfortable. I got so focused on building my empire that I forgot why I was building it in the first place. He met the old man's eyes. This is why. This is what I was supposed to do. Honor her memory. Fight for the people who can't fight for themselves. Make sure what happened to her never happens to anyone else. Dr. Okonkwo was silent for a long moment. Then he stood. I have something to show you. He led Marcus to a small office in the back of the house. A filing cabinet sat in the corner, covered in a layer of dust. I kept copies too, the old man said. Not as many as Grace, but enough. Surgical reports, internal communications, my own notes from every patient I lost. He unlocked the cabinet and pulled out a thick folder. I never threw them away. I couldn't. Every year I told myself I should destroy them. Every year something stopped me. Maybe I was waiting too. He handed the folder to Marcus. Use it. Use all of it. And burn them to the ground. Marcus took the folder. His hands were steady now. His purpose was clear. I will. I promise. His phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. Urgent. Call me now. Marcus excused himself and dialed his brother. What's wrong? Vanessa just filed a restraining order against you. She's claiming you threatened her life at the wedding, and that's not all. What else? She's working with the hospital. I don't know how, but she found out about the files. She's telling reporters that you're fabricating evidence to extort money from County USC. She's positioning herself as a whistleblower. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. She's trying to get ahead of the story. She's doing more than that. She's meeting with the hospital's lawyers tomorrow morning. I think they're going to announce some kind of joint response. How do you know this? I have a contact at her PR firm. They're planning a press conference for noon tomorrow. Vanessa, the hospital administrator, and a state senator who sits on the Healthcare Oversight Committee. A state senator. The corruption ran deeper than Marcus had imagined. We need to go public first, before they can control the narrative. With what? We don't have verification yet. Margaret says we need at least another week. Marcus looked at Dr. Okonkwo, who was watching him with concerned eyes. We have verification now. I'm bringing back everything we need. From San Diego. From the doctor who tried to save my mother's life. And he's not the only one. There are 2 more witnesses in Phoenix and Los Angeles. Get Margaret on a plane to Phoenix tonight. I want all 3 testimonies by tomorrow morning. Marcus, that's impossible. Make it possible. Vanessa and the hospital think they're going to ambush us. We're going to ambush them first. He hung up and turned back to Dr. Okonkwo. Doctor, how do you feel about taking a trip to Los Angeles tonight? The old man smiled grimly. I thought you'd never ask. 4 hours later, Marcus was back at Cedars-Sinai with Dr. Okonkwo at his side. Mama Grace was awake, waiting, as if she'd known they were coming. Samuel, she said softly, it's been too long. Dr. Okonkwo crossed the room and took her hand. 31 years. You haven't changed a bit. Liar, I've changed plenty. We all have. Marcus watched them, these 2 survivors of a war no one else remembered. Patricia and Jennifer are on their way, he said. Margaret's flying to Phoenix now to get Patricia's deposition. Jennifer's being brought in by my security team. Mama Grace nodded. Then it's really happening. It's really happening. Tomorrow at noon, Vanessa and the hospital are planning a press conference to destroy me. Tomorrow at 11, we're holding our own press conference to destroy them. Dr. Okonkwo squeezed Mama Grace's hand. Are you ready for this? Once it starts, there's no going back. Mama Grace smiled. that steady, patient smile that had carried her through 32 years of waiting. I've been ready since the night Helen died. I've been ready every single day. The question isn't whether I'm ready. She looked at Marcus. The question is whether the world is ready to hear the truth. The morning of the press conference, Marcus hadn't slept in 36 hours. Patricia Reyes had arrived from Phoenix at 3 a.m., escorted by Margaret Chen and 2 security guards. Jennifer Thompson, the nurse who had changed her name and disappeared, had been found in a small apartment in Long Beach. She'd cried when Marcus's team showed up at her door. Not from fear, from relief. Now all 4 witnesses sat in a private conference room at the Wilshire Grand Hotel. Mama Grace, Dr. Okonkwo, Patricia, Jennifer. 4 people who had carried the same terrible secret for 3 decades finally together, finally ready to speak. Marcus stood at the window watching the sun rise over Los Angeles. Nervous? Daniel asked, appearing at his shoulder. Terrified. Good. That means you're taking it seriously. Marcus turned to face his brother. What if it doesn't work? What if Vanessa and the hospital have something we don't know about? What if we put these people on camera and destroy their lives for nothing? Then we'll have tried. That's more than anyone else has done for 32 years. Margaret Chen entered the room, tablet in hand. We have a problem. What now? Vanessa's press conference. They've moved it up. It's happening at 10 a.m., not noon. Marcus checked his watch. 8:47 a.m. They know. Somehow they know we're planning something. It gets worse. I just got a call from a contact at City Hall, the state senator who was supposed to appear with Vanessa. He's bringing the state attorney general with him. They're going to announce a formal investigation into your foundation's finances. Marcus felt the ground shift beneath his feet. They're trying to arrest me. Not arrest, not yet. But they're going to tie you up in investigations for months, maybe years. By the time you're cleared, the story about the hospital will be old news. Daniel slammed his fist against the wall. We can't let them do this. We have to go first. With what our press conference is scheduled for 11, we don't have time to move it up. Then we do something else. Marcus's mind was racing. We don't wait for a press conference. We go live, right now, social media, every platform. We tell the story before they can bury it. Margaret shook her head. That's too risky. Without controlled conditions, without prepared statements, anything could go wrong. Anything is already going wrong. They're outmaneuvering us at every turn. The only advantage we have is the truth. Let's use it. He walked to the conference room where the 4 witnesses waited. Change of plans, he announced. Vanessa and the hospital are trying to destroy us before we can speak. We're not going to let them. Mama Grace looked up with those steady, patient eyes. What do you need us to do? I need you to tell your story, right now, on camera. Live to the world. Dr. Okonkwo stood. I'm ready. Patricia nodded. I've been ready for 31 years. Jennifer's hands trembled, but her voice was firm. Let's end this. Within 15 minutes, Marcus's team had set up a makeshift broadcast studio in the hotel suite. Laptops connected to every major social media platform. Cameras positioned. Microphones tested. At 9:15 a.m., Marcus Whitfield went live. My name is Marcus Whitfield. Many of you know me as a businessman. Some of you know me as the man who canceled his wedding 3 days ago. Today, I'm speaking to you as something else. A son who just learned how his mother really died. The viewer count started climbing. Thousands, then tens of thousands. 32 years ago, my mother Helen Whitfield walked into County USC Medical Center with chest pains. She was having a heart attack. The doctors knew it. The nurses knew it. Everyone knew she needed surgery immediately. Hundreds of thousands now. But my mother was poor. She didn't have insurance. She had $200 in her purse and 2 young sons at home. So instead of saving her life, the hospital made her wait. 3 days. 3 days in a hallway while administrators verified whether charity funds would cover the cost. By the time they finally operated, it was too late. 1 million viewers. My mother died because she couldn't pay fast enough. And for 32 years, the hospital covered it up. They told us it was natural causes. They destroyed the evidence. They silenced anyone who tried to speak up. Marcus stepped aside. But they couldn't silence everyone. Let me introduce you to the people who were there, the people who saw what happened, the people who have been waiting 3 decades to tell the truth. Dr. Okonkwo stepped in front of the camera. My name is Dr. Samuel Okonkwo. I was a surgeon at County USC Medical Center from 1985 to 1993. I personally treated 47 patients who died because of the hospital's policy of delaying treatment for uninsured patients. Helen Whitfield was one of them. I begged the administrators to let me operate on her immediately. They refused. They told me to wait. And when she died, they told me to keep my mouth shut or lose my career. I lost it anyway. Patricia Reyes was next. My name is Patricia Reyes. I was a nurse at County USC for 12 years. I watched patients die in hallways while we waited for financial clearance. I filed complaints. I went to supervisors. I even went to the press. Nothing happened. Then one day I came to work and my badge didn't work. They'd fired me overnight. No warning, no explanation, just gone. Jennifer Thompson followed her voice, shaking but determined. My name is Jennifer Thompson. I watched Helen Whitfield die. I held her hand while she asked about her boys. I heard her final words, and when I tried to report what happened, the hospital threatened my family. They made calls to medical schools where my son was applying. He was rejected everywhere. They destroyed his dream because I tried to tell the truth. The viewer count had passed 5 million. Finally, Mama Grace stood before the camera. My name is Grace Johnson. Most people know me as Mama Grace. 3 days ago, I walked into a cathedral and interrupted a wedding. I did it because the groom was the son of a woman I made a promise to 32 years ago. Helen Whitfield asked me to watch over her boys, to make sure they remembered who they were, to make sure when the time came someone would finally tell the truth. She held up the hospital bracelet. This belonged to Helen. I've kept it for 32 years, along with files documenting 47 deaths, 47 families who never knew what really happened to their loved ones, 47 cover-ups that kept a broken system running. Marcus stepped back in front of the camera. In less than an hour, my former fiancée, Vanessa Thornton, and the administrators of County USC Medical Center are holding a press conference. They're going to tell you that I'm a criminal, that I'm fabricating evidence, that I'm trying to extort money from innocent people. He leaned toward the camera. They're lying. They've been lying for 32 years, and today the lying stops. He held up the stack of files. These documents prove everything. Internal memos ordering delays for uninsured patients. Cover-up orders from administrators. Altered death certificates. All of it verified by 4 independent witnesses who risked everything to tell the truth. 10 million viewers. I'm releasing these documents publicly, right now. Every file, every memo, every name. The world can judge for itself who's telling the truth. Margaret posted the documents to a dedicated website. Links appeared on every social media platform. Within seconds, journalists around the world were downloading 32 years of secrets. Marcus looked directly into the camera. To the families of the 47 people who died. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the system failed your loved ones. I'm sorry that no one listened for so long. And I'm sorry that I didn't know the truth until 3 days ago. His voice cracked. To my mother, I'm sorry I forgot. I'm sorry I spent 32 years running from where I came from instead of honoring where I came from. But I remember now. And I promise you I will never forget again. He straightened. To Vanessa Thornton and County USC Medical Center. Your press conference is in 45 minutes. I'll be watching. And so will 20 million other people who now know exactly what kind of people you are. He reached for the camera controls. This is Marcus Whitfield. And this is only the beginning. The feed cut to black. Silence filled the hotel suite. Then Margaret's phone rang. Then Daniel's. Then everyone's. "We're trending #1 worldwide," Margaret said, staring at her screen in disbelief. "Every major news network is picking up the story. CNN, Fox, BBC, Al Jazeera. Everyone." Daniel grabbed Marcus's arm. "Vanessa's press conference. They're scrambling. I'm seeing reports that the state senator just canceled his appearance." "What about the Attorney General?" "He released a statement saying he was unaware of the full context and is reviewing the situation." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. "They're running." His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. "Mr. Whitfield." Robert Chen's voice was strained, desperate. "We need to talk." "I think we're past talking, Mr. Chen. Please, listen to me. I wasn't involved in what happened in 1992. I've only been at County USC for 8 years. I had no idea about any of this until you came forward." Ignorance isn't an excuse. "I'm not making excuses. I'm trying to help. There are things you don't know, things that go higher than the hospital. If you're willing to meet, I can tell you everything." Marcus hesitated. It could be a trap, a desperate attempt to stop the bleeding, but it could also be real. "Where?" "There's a parking garage beneath the hospital, level B3. Come alone." That sounds exactly like a trap. It probably is. But I'm coming anyway because I'm tired of being complicit. I've spent 8 years following orders I knew were wrong. Your broadcast just gave me the courage to stop. Marcus looked at Daniel. His brother was shaking his head violently. "Don't do it," Daniel mouthed. "I'll be there in 30 minutes, Marcus said. He hung up. "Are you insane?" Daniel exploded. "He's going to ambush you, or kill you, or both." "Maybe. But if he knows something, if there's more to this story than we've found, I need to hear it." "Then I'm coming with you." "No, someone needs to stay here. Protect the witnesses. Keep the pressure on. If I don't come back, you finish what we started." Daniel grabbed his shoulders. "Marcus, Mom wouldn't want you to die trying to avenge her." "I'm not trying to die. I'm trying to live. Really live for the first time in 32 years. He pulled away and headed for the door. Mama Grace's voice stopped him. "Marcus." He turned. She was standing now, leaning on her walking stick, looking stronger than she had in days. "Your mother used to say something when things got hard, when we were scared, when it felt like the darkness would never end." "What did she say?" Mama Grace smiled. "Be the light, even when it's dark, especially when it's dark." Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. "I remember." "Then go, be the light, and come back to us." 25 minutes later, Marcus descended into the parking garage beneath County USC Medical Center. Level B3 was nearly empty. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead. His footsteps echoed against concrete walls. Robert Chen stood beside a support pillar alone, looking like a man who hadn't slept in days. "Thank you for coming." "Talk fast. I have a lot of people waiting for me." Chen reached into his jacket. Marcus tensed. "Relax, it's just a flash drive." He held up a small black device. "This contains everything. Financial records showing that the delay policies were implemented specifically to boost profit margins. Communications between hospital administrators and political donors. Proof that 3 state senators received campaign contributions in exchange for blocking healthcare reform bills that would have prevented what happened to your mother." Marcus stared at the flash drive. "Why are you giving me this?" "Because I have a daughter. She's 7 years old. And when she grows up, I don't want her to find out her father was part of something this evil. You could go to prison." "I probably will, but at least I'll be able to look at myself in the mirror." Marcus took the flash drive. "Is there anything else?" Chen hesitated. "Vanessa Thornton." "What about her?" "She's not just working with the hospital. She's been working with them for months. Before you even met, your entire relationship was a setup." Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. "What? The hospital knew you were Helen Whitfield's son. They've been tracking you for years, waiting to see if you'd ever become a threat. When your foundation started doing work in healthcare, they got nervous. Vanessa was their insurance policy. She was planted. She was hired. 2 years of her life devoted to making sure you never found out the truth. The wedding was supposed to be the final step. Once you were married, she'd have access to everything. Your finances, your foundation, your files. If you ever did stumble onto the truth, she'd be in position to destroy the evidence before you could use it. Marcus's mind reeled. 2 years. Every dinner, every conversation, every intimate moment. All of it calculated. All of it fake. Why didn't it work? Because of Grace Johnson. They knew about her, but they underestimated her. They thought she was just a crazy old woman begging for money. They didn't realize she'd kept the files. They didn't realize she was waiting for the right moment to strike. She outplayed them. She outweighted them. There's a difference. Marcus looked at the flash drive in his hand. Evidence of a conspiracy that stretched across decades. Proof that his entire relationship had been a lie. What happens to you now? Chen shrugged. I'll disappear. I have savings. A plan. The hospital doesn't know I kept copies of these files. By the time they figure out where the leak came from, I'll be gone. That's not justice. No, but it's survival. And right now, survival is all I can manage. He started to walk away, then stopped. Mr. Whitfield, one more thing. What? The night your mother died. I've read the files, all of them. She was conscious at the end. She knew she was dying. And the last thing she said wasn't about pain, it wasn't about fear, it was a message for her sons. Marcus's throat tightened. What message? She said, tell them to be the light. Tell them I'll be watching. Chen disappeared into the shadows of the parking garage. Marcus stood alone, flash drive in hand, tears streaming down his face. 32 years. His mother had been watching for 32 years. Through Grace. Through the others. Through every small kindness that led him back to who he was supposed to be. And now, finally, he understood. The reckoning wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about justice. It wasn't even about the 47 people who died. It was about becoming the man his mother always believed he could be. His phone rang. Daniel. Where are you? Vanessa's press conference just started. It's a disaster. She's crying, claiming she was manipulated, but no one's buying it. The reporters keep asking about the files you released. She has no answers. I'm on my way back. There's more. The FBI just announced they're opening an investigation. Not into you. Into the hospital. They're citing the documents you released as probable cause. Marcus allowed himself a smile. It's working. It's more than working. It's a landslide. People are sharing the story everywhere. Families are coming forward saying their loved ones died the same way. The hashtag is trending worldwide. What hashtag? Justice for the 47. Someone started it an hour ago. It's everywhere. Marcus looked at the flash drive in his hand. Evidence of something even bigger. A conspiracy that reached into the highest levels of government. Daniel, call Margaret. Tell her I'm bringing something that changes everything. What is it? Proof that this goes deeper than we ever imagined. Proof that Vanessa was working for the hospital from the start. And proof that multiple state senators were paid to look the other way while people died. Silence on the other end. Marcus, are you sure about this? If we release that we're not just taking down a hospital, we're taking down half the political establishment in California. Marcus thought about his mother, about her final message, about 32 years of waiting. I'm sure. Then come back. We'll do it together. Marcus hung up and walked toward the exit. Behind him, the parking garage sat empty. The hospital above him continued operating, unaware that its foundations were already crumbling. Ahead of him, a city waited. A country waited. A truth that had been buried for 32 years was finally clawing its way into the light. And Marcus Whitfield was going to make sure it got there. 6 months later, Marcus stood at the gates of County USC Medical Center and watched them close for the last time. Federal marshals had arrived at dawn. They'd seized computers, locked filing cabinets, and escorted the remaining administrators out in handcuffs. News helicopters circled overhead, capturing every moment for a nation that had been following this story since a billionaire interrupted his own wedding to tell the truth. Daniel appeared at his shoulder. "It's really over." "No." Marcus shook his head. "It's really beginning." The flash drive Robert Chen had given him 6 months ago had detonated like a nuclear bomb. 3 state senators arrested, 14 hospital administrators indicted. A healthcare reform bill passed unanimously by a legislature terrified of being associated with the scandal. And Vanessa Thornton, the woman who had spent 2 years pretending to love him, was facing 23 counts of fraud conspiracy and obstruction of justice. Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from Mama Grace. "Come to the hospital. I need to see you." His heart clenched. 6 months of treatment had stabilized her condition, but she was still fragile, still fighting, still waiting. He drove to Cedars-Sinai in silence, the same route he'd driven 100 times since the wedding that never happened. The same route that had become as familiar as the path to his own heart. Mama Grace was sitting up when he entered her room. She looked thinner than before, but her eyes were bright, alert, alive. "You saw the news?" Marcus asked. "I saw," she smiled. "They're all gone. Every last one of them." "Not everyone. There are still trials, appeals, years of legal battles ahead. But the hospital is closed. The truth is out. The families know what happened to their loved ones." Marcus sat beside her bed. 47 families. I've met with every single one. Some of them thanked me. Some of them screamed at me. One woman slapped me across the face. Why? Because I reminded her of her son. He died the same way my mother did. 3 days waiting for treatment that came too late. She said looking at me was like looking at the life her son never got to have. Mama Grace reached for his hand. "And how did that make you feel?" "Grateful, guilty, determined." He looked at their intertwined fingers. "Mostly determined. Every time I wanted to give up, every time the lawyers said it was hopeless, every time Vanessa's people leaked something new to the press, I thought about that woman, about her son, about all 47 of them. Your mother would be proud." "I hope so. I know so." Mama Grace's grip tightened. "She's been watching, all this time, through me, through the others, through every moment that led you back to who you were meant to be." Marcus felt tears burning in his eyes. "I never thanked you properly. For everything. For the bread you left on our doorstep. For the years of watching from a distance. For the $10 that saved my soul. You thanked me by listening, by believing, by fighting when everyone told you it was impossible. It wasn't impossible. It was just hard. Most things worth doing are." The door opened. Daniel entered, followed by Dr. Okonkwo, Patricia Reyes, and Jennifer Thompson. The 4 witnesses who had risked everything to tell the truth. "We heard the news," Dr. Okonkwo said. "We wanted to celebrate together." Patricia was crying. "I never thought I'd see this day. 31 years. 31 years of carrying that secret." Jennifer hugged Marcus tightly. "Thank you for giving us our voices back." They gathered around Mama Grace's bed, this unlikely family bound together by tragedy and truth. 6 months ago, they had been strangers, united only by a terrible secret. Now they were something more. Something sacred. "I have an announcement," Marcus said. "The Helen Whitfield Foundation is launching a new initiative. We're building a hospital. A real hospital where no one will ever be denied treatment because they can't pay." Dr. Okonkwo's eyes widened. "Where?" "Right here, in South Central, on the site where County USC used to stand. The land is being seized through eminent domain. Construction starts next month." Patricia gasped. You're replacing the hospital that killed them with one that will save others. That's the plan. And I want all of you involved. Dr. Okonkwo, I need you to design the treatment protocols. Patricia Jennifer, I need you to train the nursing staff. Mama Grace. He turned to the elderly woman in the bed. I need you to cut the ribbon when we open. Mama Grace's eyes filled with tears. I don't know if I'll still be here when it opens. You will be. I'm making sure of it. Marcus, my kidneys are failing. My heart is weak. The doctors say... I don't care what the doctors say. You waited 32 years for justice. You're going to wait a little longer to see it completed. Mama Grace laughed through her tears. You're as stubborn as your mother. I learned from the best. The celebration continued for another hour. Stories were shared. Memories were honored. Plans were made for a future that had seemed impossible just 6 months ago. When the others finally left, Marcus stayed behind. There's something else, Mama Grace said quietly. Something I never told you. Marcus leaned closer. What? The night your mother died. Her final words. I told you she asked me to watch over her boys. But there was more. What did she say? Mama Grace reached beneath her pillow and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Yellow with age. Fragile as a butterfly's wing. She dictated a letter. To you and Daniel. She made me write it down because she was too weak to hold a pen. I've kept it all these years waiting for the right moment. Marcus took the paper with trembling hands. Read it, Mama Grace said. It's time. He unfolded the letter carefully. His mother's words transcribed in Mama Grace's handwriting stared back at him. My dearest boys, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry I couldn't stay longer. I'm sorry I couldn't watch you grow up. I'm sorry for all the things I'll miss, the graduations and weddings and grandchildren I'll never hold. But I need you to know something. I'm not leaving you alone. I've asked a friend to watch over you. Her name is Grace, and she has the kindest heart of anyone I've ever met. She'll be there when you need her, even if you don't know she's there. I have one last wish. One thing I need you to promise me. Be the light. The world is dark, my boys. Darker than you know. There are people who will try to dim your light. People who will tell you that kindness is weakness. People who will make you believe that the only way to survive is to become as hard as they are. Don't listen to them. Be kind. Be generous. Be the people I raised you to be. And when you see someone struggling, someone in pain, someone who needs help, don't look away. Stop. See them. Help them. That's how we change the world. Not with money or power or fame. With kindness. With compassion. With the simple act of seeing another person and choosing to help. I love you both more than words can say. I'll be watching. I'll always be watching. Be the light. Your mother, Helen. Marcus couldn't see through his tears. The letter shook in his hands. 32 years. His mother had been speaking to him across 32 years of silence. She knew, he whispered. She knew she was going to die, and she wrote this. She wanted you to have it when you were ready. Mama Grace's voice was gentle. When you'd become the man she believed you could be. Why now? Why wait until now? Because now you understand. The $10, the bus stop, the waiting. It was all part of her plan. Her final gift to her sons. Marcus looked at the letter again. His mother's words. His mother's love. His mother's faith in him preserved for 32 years by a woman who had never stopped keeping her promise. I don't deserve this. Yes, you do. You've always deserved it. You just needed to believe it yourself. Marcus folded the letter carefully and placed it over his heart. What do I do now? You keep going. You build the hospital. You fight for the families. You honor her memory every single day. And if I fail? Mama Grace smiled. That steady, patient smile that had carried her through 3 decades of waiting. Then you try again. That's what your mother would want. Not perfection, just persistence. Not success, just effort. Keep trying. Keep fighting. Keep being the light. Marcus leaned forward and kissed her forehead. Thank you. For everything. For waiting. For believing. For keeping your promise. Thank your mother. She's the one who saw the light in you. I just helped you find it again. 1 year later, Marcus stood before a crowd of 3,000 people. The Helen Whitfield Memorial Hospital rose behind him, gleaming and new. 12 stories of hope, state-of-the-art equipment, the most advanced emergency protocols in the country, and a policy carved in stone above the entrance: no one will be turned away. Beside him stood Daniel, Dr. Okonkwo, Patricia, and Jennifer, and in the front row, in a wheelchair draped with flowers, sat Mama Grace. She'd made it. Against all odds, against every prediction, against the failing kidneys and weakening heart that should have claimed her months ago, she'd made it. Marcus stepped to the microphone. 1 year ago today, I stood at a different podium. I was about to tell the world the truth about how my mother died. I was terrified. I didn't know if anyone would believe me. I didn't know if it would make any difference. He looked out at the crowd. Families of the 47. Healthcare workers. Politicians who had championed reform. Journalists who had told the story. Ordinary people who had simply cared enough to pay attention. Today I stand before you with proof that truth matters. That justice is possible. That even after 32 years, the light can break through the darkness. He gestured to the building behind him. This hospital is named for my mother, Helen Whitfield, but it belongs to all of them. To the 47 who died waiting. To the families who never knew why. To everyone who ever walked into an emergency room and wondered if they'd be seen as a person or just a problem to be solved. He turned to Mama Grace. And it belongs to the woman who made all of this possible. The woman who waited 32 years to keep a promise. The woman who saw a stranger at a bus stop and recognized something worth saving. He extended his hand. Mama Grace, would you do us the honor? 2 nurses helped Mama Grace to her feet. She walked slowly toward Marcus, leaning on her walking stick, every step an act of defiance against the body that had tried to fail her. Marcus handed her a pair of golden scissors. The ribbon, if you please. Mama Grace looked at the ribbon stretched across the hospital entrance, then at Marcus, then at the crowd of 3,000 people who had gathered to witness this moment. Before I cut this ribbon, she said, her voice carrying despite its weakness, I want to tell you something. Something Helen Whitfield told me the night she died. The crowd fell silent. She said, Grace, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of being forgotten. I'm afraid that my boys will grow up and not remember who they are, not remember where they came from, not remember that the most important thing in life isn't what you achieve, it's what you give. Mama Grace's eyes found Marcus. Your mother wasn't forgotten. She never will be. Because every person who walks through these doors, every life that's saved, every family that's kept whole, it's because of her. Because she believed that kindness matters. Because she raised a son who believed it too. She lifted the scissors. This hospital isn't just a building. It's a promise. A promise that no one will die waiting for help. A promise that every life matters. A promise that the light will always win. She cut the ribbon. The crowd erupted in cheers. Confetti fell from the sky. Music played. People embraced. But Marcus didn't hear any of it. He was watching Mama Grace, this frail, elderly woman who had changed his life with 6 whispered words at a wedding. Who had waited 32 years to keep a promise to a dying mother. Who had shown him that the greatest strength isn't power or wealth or influence. It's patience. It's faith. It's the stubborn refusal to give up on someone even when everyone else has. Mama Grace caught his eye and smiled. She's watching, she said quietly. Right now. She's watching, and she's proud. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. How do you know? Because I can feel her. I've always been able to feel her. Every morning at the bus stop, every time you handed me $10, every moment that led us here. She's been with us the whole time. Marcus looked up at the sky, blue and cloudless and infinite. I love you, Mom, he whispered. I'll keep being the light, I promise. That night, Marcus visited Mama Grace in her hospital room one last time. She was weaker now. The excitement of the day had drained what little strength she had left, but she was smiling, at peace. "It's time," she said quietly. Marcus's heart clenched. "Time for what?" "Time for me to go. My work is done. The promise is kept. You don't need me anymore." "That's not true. I'll always need you." "No, Marcus. You needed me to remember who you were. Now you know. Now you can carry it yourself." She reached for his hand. "I'm going to see her soon. Your mother. I'm going to tell her everything. How you built the hospital. How you fought for the families. How you became the man she always knew you could be." Marcus was crying openly now. "Please, not yet. There's so much more I want to say." "Then say it. I'm listening." He gripped her hand tightly. "Thank you for saving me, for saving Daniel, for giving us back our mother even after she was gone. You're the most extraordinary person I've ever known, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of what you did for us." Mama Grace smiled, that steady, patient smile he would carry with him forever. "You already are." Her eyes closed. Her breathing slowed. And Grace Marie Johnson, the woman who had waited 32 years to keep a promise, finally let go. Marcus stayed with her until dawn, holding her hand, whispering memories, thanking her for every moment of every day she had spent watching over him and his brother. When the sun rose over Los Angeles, he walked out of the hospital and into the light. The city spread before him, vast and complicated and full of people struggling to survive. People waiting for help. People hoping someone would see them. His mother's words echoed in his mind. "Be the light, even when it's dark. Especially when it's dark." Marcus Whitfield had built an empire. He had exposed a conspiracy. He had changed laws and saved lives and honored the memory of 47 people who died because the world had looked away. But that wasn't his legacy. His legacy was simpler than that. His legacy was $10 given without expectation to a stranger at a bus stop who turned out to be an angel in disguise. His legacy was kindness. His legacy was light. And that light would never go out. Because somewhere in Los Angeles at this very moment, someone was waiting. Waiting for help. Waiting for hope. Waiting for someone to stop, see them, and choose to care. And Marcus Whitfield would be there. He would always be there. Because that's what the light does. It shines.